story unfolds in Hong Kong on a fateful Valentine's Day, February 14th, 1999. Chi Sing, a concerned friend, anxiously waited to hear from Chung Wai-Man, who had been unresponsive for 4 days. Repeated calls went unanswered, leaving Chi deeply unsettled. Desperate for answers, he reached out to Chung's younger brother, urging him to visit Chung's apartment and check if anything was amiss. When Chung's brother arrived, an eerie silence greeted him. His knocks on the door went unanswered. Uneasy, he recalled that Chung often left a spare key with a neighbor. Retrieving the key, he attempted to unlock the door but found the lock had been changed. Alarm bells ringing in his mind, he wasted no time and called the police. Moments later, officers forced the door open. What awaited them was the stuff of nightmares. A foul, putrid odor hit them immediately. The apartment was a chaotic mess, with belongings strewn everywhere, as if someone had left in a hurry or had been searching for something. In a corner of the apartment, the authorities discovered an iron trunk that appeared suspicious. As they opened it, a strong odor filled the room. Inside, they found layers of clothing and a thick layer of salt. Beneath the salt lay human remains, carefully concealed. The body had been dismembered into 6 parts: the neck, torso, 2 arms, and 1 leg, while the left arm and leg were missing. It seemed to be an effort to cover up the evidence. The body was identified as 23-year-old Chung Wai-Man, a loyal friend with a fierce temper and a reputation for standing by those he cared about. Despite minor ties to the criminal world, Chung was a kind-hearted individual who often risked his safety to help others. His fiery temperament, however, led to frequent clashes with his family, prompting him to move out and live on his own. The autopsy painted a chilling picture of his final moments. Chung had been stabbed 13 times, with a deep, fatal wound slicing from his chest through his lungs and abdomen. Blunt force trauma to his head and neck suggested he was knocked unconscious before the attack. The cause of death was massive blood loss, with investigators estimating he had died on February 10th. As the investigation unfolded, a web of secrets and sinister motives began to surface, hinting that this was more than just a random act of violence. The haunting question remained: who wanted Chung dead, and why? Chung had always been a pillar of support for his younger brother, their bond unshakable, even in tough times. But Chung's fiery temper often sabotaged his efforts to build a stable life. Jobs came and went, as his impulsive nature led him to quit one position after another. When word of Chung's untimely death spread, a somber crowd gathered at his funeral, mourning the loss of a loyal friend and devoted brother. Meanwhile, the police turned their attention to Chi Sing, the man who had reported Chung missing. Chi recounted their close friendship, painting a picture of 2 companions who always had each other's backs. He vividly recalled their last meeting on February 10th. They were sharing drinks at a roadside stall when Chi noticed Chung seemed unusually tense. Pressing him for answers, Chi finally got Chung to open up. Chung revealed suspicions about his girlfriend, Man. Her secretive behavior, laughing at her phone, wearing new clothes, and going out without explanation, had stirred doubts. When confronted, she had skillfully dodged his questions. Chi reluctantly admitted that he had once seen Man with another man at the market. That revelation sent Chung into a fury. Despite Chi's attempts to calm him down, Chung stormed off, muttering that he had something to take care of. Chi waited for hours, growing increasingly worried when Chung didn't return. Deciding to check on him, Chi went to Chung's apartment. There, Man greeted him with hostility. She refused to let him in, calling it a private matter. Through the door, Chi heard Chung's voice, but loud music quickly drowned it out. When Chi persisted, Yupo-man opened the door briefly, only to throw a power bank at him. In that fleeting moment, Chi noticed another woman inside, close in age to Yupo-man. The door slammed shut, and Chi, frustrated and helpless, left. He chalked it up to a heated lover's quarrel. 4 days later, the news of Chung's brutal death shattered him. The police turned their focus to Yupo-man, now the prime suspect, but tracking her down proved difficult. Neighbors and family members offered no useful information, and the second woman seen in the apartment claimed ignorance, insisting she was there only briefly and knew nothing about the murder. As investigators issued a warrant for Yupo-man's arrest, the search for Chung's missing arm and leg intensified. Then, on February 17th, a surprising lead emerged. Chung Wai, Yupo-man's ex-boyfriend, stepped forward. He revealed that he had contacted her after learning about the warrant. She vehemently denied any involvement in the murder and refused to turn herself in. Chung Wai recounted their complicated relationship. They had met at a market the previous year and quickly became close. Even after discovering that Yupo-man had a child and another boyfriend, he had stayed involved with her, captivated by her charm. The pieces of the puzzle were beginning to take shape, but Yupo-man remained elusive, and the chilling question lingered. What had really happened in Chung's apartment that night? Chung's world turned upside down when Yupo-man tearfully confessed she was pregnant. Panic consumed him as he blurted out, "We can't afford this child. If people find out, I could go to jail." Desperation led them to consider an abortion, but during a consultation, the doctor delivered chilling news. Due to Yupo-man's fragile health, the procedure could endanger her life. Faced with this grim reality, they abandoned the plan. Determined to protect her unborn child, Yupo-man resolved to take on the responsibility alone. She continued attending school, cleverly disguising her growing belly under loose clothing. To prying classmates and teachers, she dismissed her changing appearance as mere weight gain. Even at home, her secret remained hidden. In May 1995, alone in the confines of Chung's bathroom, Yupo-man brought her baby girl into the world without medical assistance, but her joy was short-lived. Chung coldly refused to acknowledge the child. "I can't give her my name," he declared. "She's a burden to us. Leave her at a hospital gate." Yupo-man, however, stood her ground. "I won't abandon her," she said fiercely. "I'll raise her myself." She asked Chung for shelter and began a difficult routine of juggling motherhood and her education. Every morning she left her daughter in Chung's room and went to school. After classes, she returned to care for her baby before heading back to her family's home at night. Despite her resilience, the struggle to make ends meet was relentless. Chung, unreliable as ever, lacked stable employment, leaving them perpetually short on funds. To ease their financial burden, Yupo-man convinced her family she needed an apartment to focus on her studies. Believing her, they sent her 1,000 Hong Kong dollars monthly. Using this money, she moved into Chung's apartment. But instead of stepping up, Chung became even lazier, quitting his job entirely. Against all odds, Yupo-man managed to pass her college entrance exam while raising her child. Yet she declined admission, choosing her daughter's well-being over her dreams. Fearing her family would cut off financial support, she kept her sacrifices a secret. By 1996 and 1997, life took a darker turn. Yupo-man gave birth to 2 more children, but, overwhelmed by poverty, made heartbreaking decisions. One child was left at a railway station, another at a hospital gate. Only her eldest daughter remained with her. Her life with Chung grew increasingly unbearable. His temper escalated into violence, and Yupo-man became the target of his abuse. Her body bore the bruises and scars of his rage, each blow deepening her resentment. Love had long since turned to anger. She often found herself thinking, if only I had left him earlier. I could have finished college. I could have built a better life. In 1998, a glimmer of hope appeared when Yupo-man met Chung Wai at a market. His gentle demeanor and kind words were a stark contrast to Chung's cruelty. They exchanged numbers and quickly grew close. Even after learning about her past and her child, Chung Wai stayed by her side, offering her the affection she had long craved. But Yupo-man lived in constant fear. She knew that if Chung discovered her new relationship, the consequences would be devastating. Paralyzed by this fear, she made the painful decision to leave Chung Wai without explanation. Time passed, and her life carried on in its weary rhythm. One day, while shopping with her sister at another store, Yupo-man crossed paths with someone new. Someone who would unknowingly set her life on an even darker trajectory. She was captivated by him at first sight, a firefighter whose bravery and charm won her over. Initially, she kept the relationship hidden, but eventually began openly spending time with him. During this period, Chi-Sing, an acquaintance, noticed her actions, and Chung started growing suspicious. Chung repeatedly questioned her, but she always deflected with excuses. Then, on February 10th, 1999, Chi-Sing confirmed Chung's suspicions, revealing her affair. Enraged, Chung stormed back to his apartment and summoned her there. Yupo-man arrived, only to be met with verbal abuse and physical violence. In self-defense, she grabbed a nearby iron rod and struck Chung, causing him to stumble and fall. Overwhelmed by memories of years of abuse, she picked up a knife and attacked him further. In a state of uncontrollable rage, she continued, until he lay lifeless. Realizing what had happened, she dragged his body to the bathroom. Outside the apartment, Chi-Sing knocked on the door, but Yupo-man turned up the volume of her music to drown out any noise. Chung's 4-year-old daughter witnessed the horrifying scene through a crack in the door. Yupo-man reassured her daughter and sent her to another room. Chi-Sing eventually left, but Yupo-man faced a grim reality. She decided to dispose of the body by cutting it into pieces. Despite hours of effort, her knife was too dull. Exhausted, she covered the body with a blanket and went to bed. The next morning, she took her daughter out for breakfast. Later, she called her ex-boyfriend, who helped her procure sharper tools. Returning home, she dismembered the body into 6 parts and stored them in a trunk. To mask the odor, she added salt and filled the trunk with clothes and shoes. The remaining limbs were disposed of in a nearby garbage bin. Believing she had covered her tracks, she assumed she would escape suspicion. However, her new boyfriend, Chung Wai, contacted the police and reported everything. Yupo-man's friend, who was present during parts of the incident, denied involvement due to a lack of evidence. On February 3rd, 2000, Yupo-man was charged with murder and tampering with the body. In court, she claimed self-defense, stating that years of abuse had pushed her to her breaking point. The jury deliberated for 7 hours before deciding her fate. The charges were eventually reduced to manslaughter, and Yupo-man was sentenced to 9 years for the killing and an additional 3 years for tampering with the body, totaling 12 years in prison. When the news broke, public opinion was divided. Many speculated that Yupo-man couldn't have acted alone. They questioned how someone of her small stature could overpower Chung, a taller and stronger man, and manage to place his body in a heavy iron trunk. Some believed her friend had assisted her. though no evidence was found to support this theory. Others suspected Chi Sing's involvement, as he was present outside the apartment during the incident. Critics argued that he should have called the police when he heard Chung's cries. Chi Sing defended his actions, stating he remained silent out of concern for Yupomon's 4-year-old daughter, fearing that calling the police would lead to her mother's arrest and leave the child abandoned. Some even questioned why neighbors didn't hear such a violent altercation. This led to rumors that Chung might have been killed elsewhere and later moved to the apartment. However, there was no concrete evidence to back these claims, leaving them as mere speculations. As time passed, Yupo-man was released early in 2009 for good behavior. Upon her release, she changed her name and moved to another city to start afresh. Meanwhile, her daughter was placed in an orphanage and later adopted by a loving family. Though given a stable home and sent to school, the traumatic memories of her parents' violent past haunted her. She became withdrawn, avoiding conversations and preferring solitude. At 15, she dropped out of school and fell into bad habits, including drug use. By the age of 19, she was arrested for drug trafficking. In court, she expressed gratitude to the judge, saying, "Thank you for catching me. Now I can finally escape this life." Her adoptive mother, present at the trial, stood by her side and vowed to continue supporting her, no matter what others said. Now I turn the question to you. Who do you think is responsible for the tragic outcomes in this story? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. That's it for today's story. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe. If you liked the video, please like and share. See you soon with another intriguing case.